Welcome back to the Alzheimer's podcast. My name is Leanne and I am your host. I am so excited to be here this week and excited to share with you the message today on the top 10 foods to eat for brain health, at least in my opinion. I would like to ask you before I get started today to please leave a comment below and let me know what information you would like to hear in regards to Alzheimer's prevention or caregiving. I have a course on both coming out soon, and I would like to make sure that I'm serving the people who are really interested in Alzheimer's prevention as well as diabetes reversal, because the two pretty much go hand in hand. When we reversed my mother's diabetes in an attempt to slow the progression of her Alzheimer's progress, we saw that they are kind of synonymous. So I'm excited to be able to share all of that with you in this new course coming out, as well as if you're interested in just building a community, I have a membership that's already open. It's $7 a month. I encourage you to get in there. All links will be in the description below, as well as any studies that I ever talk about in any of my podcasts. I will always put a link in there for that as well. I don't think I have any studies today to talk about, but I am going to talk to you about food. Nutrition is so important, and I can literally spend every single podcast talking about some form or fashion around nutrition because it is something I'm very passionate about. But at the same time, there are truly 5 things that encompass the ideas behind how you would prevent Alzheimer's. And all of those things can help you in not only preventing Alzheimer's, but preventing other diseases as well. You know, there are studies, there's that word, I will put a link below. There are studies that talk about, you know, how so many of the cancers can actually be prevented if we would choose different lifestyles. And that is so important. And that's really what I believe that my mission is with this podcast and my membership group, is just to help people understand that, you know, all of these things can be prevented through lifestyle alone. But the problem is we wait until it's too late to make those changes. And then we're like, oh my gosh, what do? I can't remember this, or I have this ailment now, and how do I fix it? What if you didn't have to fix it? What if you prevented it? That's what this is all about, is just prevention. So while this is very, very structured around the disease of Alzheimer's, because it has affected me personally through my grandmother's diagnosis and death, and my mother's diagnosis, and more than likely very soon death, and my predisposal to it, I really focus heavily on brain health. But I want you to understand that a lot of the things that I talk about are also things that are shown to work in prevention of tons of different diseases. So don't just think it's only going to help prevent Alzheimer's. It could help prevent a lot of other things as well. So let's dive in. Today, I have 10 foods that I want to talk to you about that can actually help you in your brain health. And I am ready to go. All right, let's dive in. So the first food that I want to talk to you about is kind of an all-encompassing food, but I want to talk about protein. Now, when it comes to brain health, there are a couple of things that I kind of want to dive into around protein. Chicken can be really high in some omega-6s because of the feed that they'll give the chickens to eat. A lot of the soy and the corn that goes into vegetarian fed chickens can be a little bit of a problem when it comes to how eggs can help with brain health, as well as how the meat itself can help with brain health. And pasture-raised chickens does not always mean that they are just eating bugs. It also can mean that they're being fed a vegetarian feed on top of being able to eat bugs. So when you're buying eggs, I encourage you to look, and they're becoming more and more popular now, to look for soy-free or soy and corn-free eggs, because then you know that they're actually being fed a higher quality food and not getting that excess estrogen and omega-6 in there. So that's the one thing I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to chicken. Now, when it comes to red meat, if you are like me and you have both the genetic variants for Alzheimer's, which is the ApoE4, then you kind of have to be careful with red meat, because red meat can elevate what's called homocysteine. If homocysteine gets elevated, it means that you have a depletion of B2. So for me, I do eat a lot of red meat, but I also, and this is another food that I want to talk to you about, I also incorporate a ton of nutritional yeast into my diet. And when I say a ton, I mean I eat at the very least 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast a day. Nutritional yeast is considered an amino acid, and it is a highly, highly potent type or vitamin B. If you are familiar with vegan cheese, they usually use nutritional yeast in vegan cheese, and it's got a great flavor, but you can taste the vitamin B in it. And when you pee later, it will be bright yellow and smell like vitamin B. I mean, that's just what it is. But it is a complete source for vitamin B. If you ever hear of the Dr. Eric Berg, he is on YouTube as well. I'll put a link to one of his videos in the description below. He actually talks a lot about nutritional yeast and how even if you are taking a B supplement, that you need to also have yeast with it, because it will help incorporate all of the B that you need. And it's really hard to supplement B and get what you need out of it, but you can get the complete vitamin if you supplement through just having yeast. So I actually just eat a spoonful of it. I love the flavor of it. Some people think it's disgusting. I think it's fantastic. It's one of the few plants that I'll actually eat. And where it comes from, I'm not real sure. I need to actually look into that, I think. But nonetheless, nutritional yeast is fantastic for the brain, because every single person who's ever been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and tested for vitamin B has been deficient. Every single person has been deficient who's tested for vitamin B and has Alzheimer's. So always, always make sure you are getting the best source of vitamin B that you can. I choose to get it through quality protein, and I get it through nutritional yeast because I believe in whole food forms of supplements. But, if you do feel like you need to actually take a supplement, then do so. But if you can stand it, incorporate some nutritional yeast into your food, whether you put it into a bread that you're making, whether you put it on top. Like I have made zucchini fries with nutritional yeast and hemp hearts all over it. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. In fact, I will put a freebie for that recipe in the link below too, or in the description below too. So just be careful. So if you have those genetic variants, and if you don't know if you have them or not, I encourage you to find out. I'll put a link for one of the DNA tests, because that's how you can find out if you have the ApoE4 genetic. You just have to be careful with the amount of red meat that you eat and your vitamin B levels. Like I said, I choose to supplement through nutritional yeast to make sure that I'm not deficient in my vitamin B. I would be amazed if I was, because I eat a lot of yeast. Okay, so fats. I want to talk about specific fats. So fat number 1 is avocado. So we've talked about 3. This is our third food. Avocado is one of the best fats that you can put into your body. I use avocado oil 90% of the time when I'm just sauteing something. I use beef fat if I'm frying, or duck fat if I'm like deep frying something. But I use avocado oil if I am just sauteing something, or if I just need to spray oil onto something that I'm cooking in the toaster oven or whatever. Avocado is amazing. You could have it with every single meal and it would not harm you. In fact, it would help you. So I've got another podcast planned around cholesterol, but I want to touch on cholesterol really quickly, because I know that we have been taught since the 70s that saturated fats are really bad for us and they will increase our chances of heart disease. And I'm here to tell you right now, study will be included below, that is absolutely untrue. Those saturated fats are actually what will keep you from getting heart disease, and they are so necessary for the production of your hormones. So let's just touch on this real quick. You need cholesterol to manufacture hormones. Hormones that you need for your memory are estrogen. Without cholesterol, your body can't make estrogen, ladies. and men. And without the estrogen, your body can't, or your brain can't put those memories together. So do not be afraid of these foods that I'm going to talk to you about today. You need them in your body. And if you don't like avocado, fine. I have another one for you. Hang out for a few minutes. All right. So nuts is also one of the fats that is talked about a lot. Walnuts look like brains and we should eat them for our brains, but walnuts are really, really high in omega-6. You want to talk about something that will help clog your arteries? Omega-6 will clog your arteries. I do not recommend that you eat nuts on a regular basis. Occasionally, absolutely enjoy some nuts occasionally. I do not recommend them all the time. I also know that they cause digestive problems for me, so I don't eat them anymore, but I would encourage you to be careful with them. They can cause you to gain weight. Women, if you're trying to lose weight, they will certainly prevent that. And they have high omega-6s in them a lot of the time. So just be careful with nuts. All right, blueberries. If you listened to my last podcast, I talked about how blueberries were the only fruit that I eat, and they are the only fruit that I eat. I love blueberries. They're chock full of antioxidants, and they have just the perfect amount of sweetness to them. They are the lowest on the fruit index for glycemic index, and they have the best protective antioxidants in them that you can get. I think blueberries are probably, in terms of sweetness and fruit, they're the end all be all for me. I would recommend them over anything, anytime. And in the past, when I've coached people, I have only put blueberries down for a fruit because it's the only fruit that I actually believe you can eat and not bring yourself out of ketosis. Of course, if you eat, few enough, not bring yourself out of ketosis, but also not give yourself a huge insulin spike, even if you do have an excess. So I talked about nutritional yeast already. Salmon, everybody knows that salmon's one of the best foods that you can possibly eat. I personally prefer it raw, but it is great fats, great vitamins, great nutrients. It's part of SMASH, which is salmon, mackerels, anchovies, sardines, and herring. That's like the 5 main fish that you want to eat. That's the only fish out of all those 5 that I actually eat. But salmon is definitely way up there on the brain health for your food because of the fat that's in it. There are other fatty fish out there, sea bass being one of them. So if you're looking for something that's just not quite salmony, try sea bass. They can make sea bass so not fishy. It's delicious, but you just want to make sure that you're getting some good fat. If all you're eating is lean foods, then you could be potentially depleting your body of some possible hormones that you need and vitamins, because there's a lot of good vitamins in fat. All right, next up, mushrooms. Oh my goodness, that's like the big buzz thing right now, but there are so many studies around mushrooms and brain health, especially lion's mane. Lion's mane is outrageously expensive. I just bought some the other day. It was $23 a pound. Of course, I live in Alaska, so that may have some impact on it, but lion's mane is so good for your brain. All mushrooms are good for your brain. And you can get organic mushrooms at Costco now. So I encourage you to eat mushrooms as often as you want to, with every meal if you want to. It will do you good, I promise. They are so brain worthy. They're a fungus. It's not like you're getting a vegetable in your body that's going to be toxic. That's a whole other podcast too. But enjoy mushrooms, eat them. I will put a study in the description below around mushrooms and how good they are for your brain. I actually bought 3 portobello mushrooms the other day. My keto coach, who is Maria Emmerich, if you're not familiar with her, I'll tag her YouTube channel in the description below as well. She has, I thought I was a good cook until I started cooking her foods. Her recipes blow my mind. Some of them are really complex and really like you just have to have time to cook some of her stuff. But her portobello mushroom recipe to make steak fries, unbelievably easy and delicious. And they're deep fried. So I encourage you to eat mushrooms, any kind of mushroom you want. I did cook the lion's mane mushrooms in some butter and salt and season them with salt, and they were actually pretty good. I feel like I cooked them when my mom first lived with us and we didn't enjoy them. They were super dirty tasting, but this one they were good. So maybe my taste buds have changed. I don't know. Zucchini. I don't eat a lot of vegetables. If you've been with me for a long time now, you know that my body does not process vegetables very well. And again, like I said, that's a whole other podcast that I'll put out later. Zucchini is one of the few vegetables that I can actually eat and I'm okay with. So I do have zucchini occasionally, not very often, but on occasion. And I really enjoy it. It's good. Leafy vegetables tend to have some toxins in them that just I don't do well with, and I can't eat nightshades at all. So I have to stay away from onion and garlic and peppers and tomatoes and all of that. So mushrooms and zucchini are about the only vegetables that I eat, but I do also enjoy seaweed. So a lot of times if we get sushi or something, I'll get a seaweed salad, and I know they have rice vinegar in them and it's a little sweeter, but I still enjoy the seaweed part of it. So, and I'll do the seaweed noodles too. When we do a dish at home and I want to do something with noodles, I'll do seaweed noodles if I don't feel like doing the egg wrap noodles. They're so good. So I think seaweed's really good. It's got a lot of the trace minerals in it that we need for good quality brain health. Olive oil. A lot of doctors will tell you if you want to avoid or reverse Alzheimer's, you need to live on the Mediterranean diet. I do not agree with that because the Mediterranean diet is very high in grain. The reason they say that is because the people in the Mediterranean have so many, what are they called? Not centurions, the people who live to be over 100 years old. And the reason that they have those people is for very different reasons other than their diet. For one, they eat meat every single meal. For two, they hardly ever sit around and just watch TV. They're very social communities. They eat out all the time, but they eat in big groups and they have family style meals. They don't overconsume food. I mean, there's so many other factors behind why those people live to be so old. But then you look at Japan, and Japan per capita has almost twice the amount of people with Alzheimer's that we do because their staple food is rice. And they don't eat much protein. So you have to put all of these things into perspective before you make your choices around how you want to eat. But olive oil is definitely a staple in the Mediterranean world, and it needs to be a staple in your world too if you are using any kind of oils to cook with. Like I said, I love this spray avocado oil. I buy that at Costco, but I cook with olive oil or beef fat most of the time. I don't fry in olive oil. I do saute in that or avocado oil, but I've been using olive oil lately, even to make breads for my husband. So olive oil is definitely a go-to in our house. And I love olives. We eat olives too. Whenever we have our Mexican night or pizza or whatever, we eat olives. So that's a really, really good source of fat, really good for cholesterol, really good for brain health. Butter. If you're a country crock margarine eating friend of mine, please stop. It is so incredibly toxic. Any of the margarines, any of the vegan butters are saturated with vegetable oils. Vegetable oil, as soon as it hits the light, it becomes rancid. As soon as it goes into your body, it creates oxidative stress on your cells. I can't talk, my Southern accent just came out. It creates oxidative stress on your cells and starts to damage them. This is where cancer happens. This is where Alzheimer's comes in. This is where a lot of the diseases that we're seeing come about so much. Crohn's disease, UC, our bodies are becoming so rampant with diseases. And a lot of that just has to do with the foods that we're eating. If you're eating French fries when you go out to a restaurant, you're ingesting all those vegetable oils. If you go to a restaurant and ask them what kind of oil they cook with, they will tell you it's olive oil, but there's a 99% chance that it's olive oil and canola oil combined because olive oil is so much more expensive. So just keep it in mind. I will do a whole restaurant series down the road. And the final food number 10, coconut. Again, full fat coconut milk can make or break a meal. I love making Indian food and Thai food and using full fat coconut milk. It just makes everything taste so amazing. If you want to make an avocado chocolate pudding, use a full fat coconut milk. If you want to make the hard boiled egg pudding that I make, that Marie Emmerich has the recipe for, use a full fat coconut milk. It's delightful, it's rich, it's creamy, it's great fat, and it's so healthy for your brain. Did you notice a trend in this? Everything that I talked to you about, with the exception of nutritional yeast, has fat. Oh, and the avocado. It all has some level of fat in it. You need quality fat in your diet. You need it. It's the way that you protect your brain. It's the way that you protect your organs. It's the way that you protect your cells. It's the way that you protect your heart. And all of this has been lied, and we've been lied to by our beautiful Food and Drug Administration, our beautiful government, and their crazy, stupid pyramid. The standard American diet is killing people. It's killing people. I actually have a webinar right now that you can go watch where I talk in depth about that. I will put the link to that in the link below, but I encourage you to start taking responsibility for your health through your food. And that will be the hugest change that you make. Protect your brain by eating fat. You're welcome. All right, I have a $7 a month membership. Please go check it out. I talk about all this stuff. I have exercise videos, I have recipes, I have cooking videos. I have so much in there. I do a free educational group coaching call every Monday. I would love to see you in there. $7 a month, link in the description below. I also have a course coming out very soon. It will be the 5 pillars of Alzheimer's prevention, with also a bonus pillar in there. And then on top of that, I have a Caregiving 101 course. It's a little mini course, and it just kind of helps get you prepared in case you have to be a caregiver for one of your parents. It's the worst experience in the world. I don't wish it on anyone, but the reality is people do not want to change their lifestyles, and Alzheimer's continues to grow in this epidemic that we're seeing right now. And I just want you to feel comfortable and confident in your ability to care for your parents. And I hope that you take control of your own life if you haven't already, and help others do the same by joining this cause, joining this mission, helping me spread this word so that we can get people healthier, living longer with their memories. Please, please like and share this post. It will help me so much to just continue to bring awareness to everyone. I thank you for joining me in this podcast, and I will see you soon. Bye.